Welcome back to the Tropical Update. It's Monday, September 18th. I'm Tom. I'll be guiding you through graphics. We're going to be talking about Hurricane Maria and the new watches and warnings that are up. We'll also be talking about Hurricane Jose and what it's going to do. I think you'll find that interesting. But first, let's go and look at our watches and warnings for Maria. And there are hurricane warnings up for St. Kitts and Guadeloupe and those middle, even Montserrat. And then St. Lucia, it has a tropical storm warning. And St. Vincent, further down in the chain, they have a tropical storm watch. The Virgin Islands, U.S. and British, they have a tropical storm warning as of now, but that will probably be turned into a hurricane warning soon. And here is the data on Maria at 11. It was 100 miles northeast of Barbados. The winds were 85 miles an hour. The pressure was 979 millibars, and it was on a west-northwest course at 13 miles an hour. It has slowed during the day from around 16 miles an hour. Now it's down to 13. This also means it can intensify the slower it goes over these warm waters. And here is the winds they're predicting and the intensity. And as you can see, as it approaches the islands, they're looking at 100-mile-an-hour winds, and that could even be more. Up near Puerto Rico, which would be sometime Wednesday night, they're looking at 125. These will change. I've seen estimates higher, and I've seen estimates a little bit lower. But right now, this is their best guess. And what are they thinking? Well, the next 48 hours, it's going to slow the forward motion, and it has, even in the last 8 hours. And it's going to track across the Leeward Islands come Monday night. And it could be a major hurricane intensity by Monday night. It's in a very favorable area. The hurricane force winds, I've checked on this again at the 11 p.m. They are 15 miles from the center, and the tropical force winds extend out 105 miles from the center. And here is our cone, and looking at it, it has not changed much. Pretty much Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are still right in the center of that cone. They are showing that it's going to be a major hurricane right around the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico area, if not before. Next up, we're going to look at the wind field. And you can see as it's become more organized and become a hurricane, the wind field has got larger. And as it strengthens, that wind field will get larger. So definitely the islands, the middle and upper islands, are going to get tropical force and then hurricane force. And here's the most likely times. If you look at it, it's a little hard to see, but it appears by about noontime on Monday, today, the Leeward Islands could be seeing tropical force winds. So there's very little time early this morning to make preparations. And here is the spaghetti models, and they are showing that after it gets right around Haiti, Dominican Republic, that it's going to make a turn to the north. And this is something we're going to keep a good eye on, because there is a few scenarios that could work out, but there are a few days off to really see if they're what they are. Here's rainfall, easily a foot to maybe 20 inches of rain in spots, and you can sort of see the path that Maria is going to take. But many of these islands have mountains, and you can have mudslides and a lot of flash flooding, especially in Puerto Rico. Our next one is going to be an actual picture, and Maria's looking better. It's still has a lot of convection near the center, and that's indicative of a growing hurricane. There's also a lot of convection off to that northeast quadrant, and that's pretty much normal, and that'll eventually wrap around when it gets in a little bit favorable wind area, which they're thinking it is probably in the next 8 hours. Next up, we're going to look at Jose, and this is 11 o'clock. It was 305 miles southeast of Cape Hatteras. It had 90-mile-an-hour winds. The pressure was 972 millibars, and it was still moving on its north path at 9 miles an hour, and it's been doing that pretty much all day. There's a few things that are going to interact with Jose, and we'll have to look very closely the next day to see what's going to be happening with Jose. Now here is the cone, and you can see that they're showing it to be an actual hurricane up until Tuesday evening, and then it's supposed to drop down to a tropical storm, and it's supposed to make a sort of a U-turn. It's a little hard to see on this picture, but that's what they're expecting it. And that has a lot to do with what I've been talking about for the last 4 days, that blocking high. And that's going to interfere with it. And here is the watches that are up. They are tropical storm watches, and they go from pretty much, I think that's Fenwick Island, and that goes on up to Plymouth. So a lot of high waves, and they're thinking that they're going to be getting some tropical winds. Rainfall is not going to be tremendous because of where it is offshore, but areas like Nantucket and places like Long Island very well could get 3, 5, maybe 8 inches of rain, and that's through Wednesday. Now here is the wave heights, and it's been a very good wave maker. Myrtle Beach is getting 6-foot waves, and near Cape Hatteras I just checked, and they're getting 12 feet, so this 11.5 is a little bit low. And out near the center of Jose, they're getting right around 22-foot waves, so very dangerous. And here's the map, and I wanted to show you that high that's over there on the right hand side. And that's basically what we've been talking about, this blocking high. And they're thinking that that's going to interfere with it, along with that trough that you see, that sort of stalled out front. And that is going to interfere with it moving. Now here's our UV index. If you're going to Myrtle Beach or Carolina Beach, it's going to be around an 8. Which is very high, which means probably 20 minutes to 15 minutes in the sun without any sunscreen or protection, you can get a sunburn. And here is our rip currents and high surf, and it's on the red, which is the highest warning. They don't want you to even go into the water, no matter how good of a swimmer you are. So you can just sort of watch the waves and just hang out on the beach. Just don't go in the water. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate all our subscribers and all our viewers. Hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We're going to be watching Maria very closely for all our friends in the islands, and we're just going to have to take it hour by hour and see what's going on. I know there's a lot of people there that are helping out, and now they're in the way of a possible major hurricane. Well, till next time, stay safe, and thanks for tuning in.